Uber is definitely clarifying their stance on whether or not you can live stream during your Uber shift with your passengers. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Now, before we get started, I just need to share a little personal story just in case it's going to affect the video. Before I made this video, I actually decided to try doing a little self-dental work. I have actually put in temporary fillings for myself. And I didn't realize these things existed, but I was like, yeah, I have a couple of craters. One, part of the tooth fell out. The other part of the filling fell out. Amazingly, no pain. But it's going to be a little while before I can actually save for the more permanent filling. So I decided I was looking up on what fillings cost, and I found out these temporary fillings, which definitely delay what you need to do. Apparently these things help if you have a sharp pain. You can put them in, and it's kind of worked as like a little stopgap. Now, I have not felt any pain, amazingly, considering how big these holes are. But I put them in, and not only am I getting used to them, but they have like a little numbing effect in case you are feeling pain, which means I don't know how I sound. I don't know if I'm sounding a little slurred or whatever, but yeah, if that's what's going on, guys, that explains it, and this could actually be a really fun video in that regard. But with that said, let's talk about what you really want to hear me talk about, which is not my teeth, it's about live streaming. Now, this has been a hot topic for a few days now when Just Smurf was permanently banned from both Uber and Lyft for violating their terms of service and making customers uncomfortable on the shift. Now, and of course, I discussed your personal driver getting threatened to basically Uber making a bunch of demands that he needs to take certain videos down if he is going to stay driving on the Uber platform, which he has basically said, no, not going to happen. Now, to clarify, I don't think you should be live streaming your passengers. I think people were misunderstanding those last couple videos quite a bit. I don't think that you should do that. I just argued the legality. In the case of your personal driver, that's definitely a murky area because California is a two-way consent law state. And I'm sorry, Aaron, I don't know if you're actually getting consent from the passengers. In Just Smurf's case, it's a one-party consent state. And on top of that, until after he was suspended, Uber's terms of service didn't say this was something you couldn't do. So I think he is perfectly within his right to have done it. I believe he should sue Uber and Lyft, and I think he should make a lot of money. But here's where the problem comes in. Uber and Lyft are trying to retroactively apply changes that they have just made. Frankly, I'm amazed this was an issue all along. It should have been stated in the terms of service. You can't live stream people pretty early on, considering how many Uber drivers drive around with cameras. But they have finally clarified that no, you can't live stream. According to Business Insider Australia, that was probably a terrible accent. Recording and publishing videos of riders is against the rules for Uber and Lyft drivers, the companies have reaffirmed. Actually, they didn't reaffirm it. They heard the flack. They looked at their terms of service, found out, oh shoot, we didn't actually clarify you can't do that. They wrote the terms of service, suspended Just Smurf to make an example of him, and now they're reaffirming it. That's what actually happened. Yeah. After several high-profile incidents garnered headlines and privacy concerns in recent weeks. The issue came to light once again at the end of October after a video circulated of Ottawa Senators hockey players bad-mouthing an assistant coach for the organization. Quote, "If you actually do pay attention, he doesn't ever teach you anything," defenseman Chris Weidman said of the coach. Caught by a dashboard camera in Arizona, the video resulted in an uproar from the club, which urged a Canadian newspaper to take down the video, saying it violated privacy laws. New guidelines were put into place by Uber at the end of September, the Associated Press reported, and were in effect at the time of the video's publication, a company spokesperson confirmed to the Wire service. Drivers are permitted to record rides for security documentation, but may not broadcast or publish the footage. Which, of course, it's interesting about that last part. Again, I think it is creepy. Just a little creepy. I'm sorry, Aaron. It's a little weird when you live stream people who may not know that you're live streaming them. But once the video is recorded, if I have the sign up, I think I should have the right to publish it, especially if they're doing something illegal or highly offensive and they're trying to get me into trouble. I think I should be able to put that up, personally speaking. In fact, this brings up some bigger concerns, which we'll get into a little while. Boy, these teeth feel weird, but anyway. Quote, broadcasting a person's image, audio, or video recording is a violation of these terms and may result in loss of account status, Uber's guidelines state. Yeah, but is this going to be held to the customer side as well? Because after all, there are passengers who live stream their their drivers without their knowledge. In fact, there's even that famous video where that got really popular where this lady saw a little Hawaiian hula toy on a Lyft driver's dashboard and started recording him without his permission, without his consent, and said that she was going to put him on Gawker and he was going to get fired because she was offended by this toy. And it went viral because, frankly, she was nuts. But amazingly, I didn't see any questions of ethics come up over this video. And there were lots like that, including one lady who wouldn't get out of a guy's car, and he was just going like, sorry, I gotta hold this so that it doesn't shake. Get out of my car! I want you to get out of my car! He was just shouting. She was recording, and that was unfortunate, by the way, and the guy should not have done that, but where was the discussion about where the ethics were there? Is it now not ethical to record the drivers? Like, that's where I'm getting a little confused about this. Because now it's definitely seemed to be stacked against the drivers. We have those dash cams there for a reason. We typically only share that footage when something really bad has happened. And yet Uber is basically now wording this in a way where we can record, but we can't do anything with the footage, which, if we have bad footage of bad passengers, we should be allowed to do something with it because they're bad passengers and we don't want to get fired and whatnot. Well, anyway, continuing. Lyft's policies point to local regulations. Please refer to your city and state's regulations on recording devices when giving rides, its website says. Some cities or states may require signage making known the presence of recording devices, while other regions may not allow recording devices at all. By the way, that is a much more helpful response. I'm still not a huge fan of Lyft at the moment because of what they do, but it's little things like that why people still give Lyft more credit. Uber's just saying, oh no, you can't do that, and people are like, well, what about this? What about this? And Lyft gives a very clear answer on what to do. Like, hey, check out your local laws. Maybe you can do it. Maybe you can't. It's really up to them. And it might require this if they do allow it. So that's at least a much more helpful response than what Uber did. So, in July, a driver for both Uber and Lyft in St. Louis was found to have recorded and broadcast up to 700 rides on the Amazon-owned streaming service Twitch. Among the passengers recorded were Alice in Chains guitarist Jerry Cantrell, drunk college students, and more. Oftentimes, passengers' names could be heard on the recordings. In a high-profile incident of a driver recording and publishing video of a passenger, Uber's former CEO Travis Kalanick was taped lecturing a driver about taking responsibility for his problems. Oh yeah, by the way, that is another reason why Uber would probably be really glad. What if Dara actually used Uber and he was caught doing something like that? But that's another thing. Dash cams were what brought down Travis K. Isn't Uber glad about that? Why are they limiting this all of a sudden? Oh, I know, because the passengers all of a sudden don't like it. They don't feel comfortable. It's like, well, don't be jerks. Seriously. State laws for recording vary by state. Arizona, in the instance of the hockey players, is a one-party state, meaning that the recording is legal provided at least one of the parties involved has knowledge of the surveillance. Oh, I guess it's not an invasion of privacy then. 38 states share Arizona's one-party rules, while 12 require the consent of all parties. According to Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press, most states have specific additional rules for hidden cameras. So there you have it. I don't think there's a picture on this one. So, well, there we go. There's the briefing. So, there you go. Uber and Lyft have basically said, yeah, you can't record. Again, I think they should have had a policy like this in place, and the policy should simply state you can't live stream your rides, but you should still be allowed to record them. Heck, if someone's doing something illegal, you should be allowed to publish them. It's interesting, of course, that Uber is, again, taking it one step further. You can't live stream, you can record, but you can't publish. And I'm sure that's going to benefit Uber a little bit because there's been more and more videos of unruly passengers winding up on the internet, which shows basically how bad the Uber drivers have it. And that's kind of been picking up a little bit of steam for how Uber should maybe be treating their drivers. And of course, they don't want that. And of course, the passengers see themselves, they're like, hey, I'm going to sue you. And some of them have a legal right to do so. Some of them don't really have a leg to stand on. It doesn't matter. Uber's trying to put everything they can that could get them into a lot of trouble under wraps. But again, I question if this is a good thing because while I would not personally live stream, and I don't think really a lot of people should, again, I should be able to record the footage, and if the passenger is being particularly abusive, like, what about the guy who was just berated by his Lyft driver? If he can't share that footage, then he stays deactivated from Lyft, and he doesn't get the money he needs to move on with his life. I think that's wrong. Video footage, what about the Taco Bell guy? Where the Taco Bell executive, like, slammed the guy's head against the steering wheel and he had to pepper spray him. Where's the driver's justice if he can't share that footage? So, of course, my opinion is that Uber is inserting themselves into us. We are independent contractors. That's our footage. That's our cars. That's our business. As long as we're following the state law, we should be able to do whatever the state law lets us. And some state laws even do allow you to live stream. Again, I'm not saying I wouldn't actually do that, but they do. So, I don't know, this is probably one more instance of Uber inserting themselves, but you know what? We're going to talk about this in detail. People have been asking, where's the monthly Rideshare podcast? Because now it has been more than a month, and people are wondering if it's dead. Well, you know what? We're doing another episode on Wednesday, and we are going to be talking about this. Me, Cecily, and Mark are going to be talking about it. I have not heard back from Mike. Come on, Mike. Respond to my text. Join the conversation. Let's get the old gang back together again. So, anyway, what do you folks think about this? Do you think Uber and Lyft should have had this on the books a long time ago? Do you think their reaffirming is more them just making their new rule and saying, oh yeah, we're reaffirming this, but they're not really? Did I sound good? I'm a little concerned about that. Again, my mouth feels a little weird right now, but I think this is going to work for the next month until I can get to the dentist in January. I don't know. I would love to know. So comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, but even those $1 a month goes a long way to helping this channel run smoothly. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.